morning. I have been consistently harping on the fact that our black youth are under attack. And I saw this particular clip on the News One Now show with Roland Martin. And I was laying in bed next to my wife. And when she saw this story, she got upset. Visibly and verbally upset. There is no way in the world that this was anything but an attack on this little girl. Now, you're going to see in the story that this little girl went on an overnight trip with 22 white classmates. The girl had a history of being bullied in school to the point that her mother had been complaining about it. The mother had requested to go on this overnight trip with her daughter's class, but she was turned down. Now, my wife indicated that there is no way that this mother should have let her kid go on an overnight trip with 22 white little kids without her, particularly given the fact that there was a history of bullying of her daughter. So my wife wanted to basically kick her ass. Anyway, I'm going to play this clip and I'll comment at the end.
All right, folks, an unbelievable story out of Waco, Texas. A 12-year-old black girl says her white classmates intentionally injured her neck with a rope. A warning, some of you might find these pictures disturbing. The injury happened while the student was on a 6th grade overnight school camp trip last month. The girl says that she and 22 white students were playing with the rope swing, and that when she stopped to watch, a classmate placed a rope around her neck from behind. She said she was pulled to the ground and that no one tried to help her. Her mother, Sandra Rubley, believes her daughter was attacked because she is black and plans to press a personal injury claim against the Live Oak Classical School. Now, the school issued a response, and this is what they say. The lawyer claimed that the student's injuries were a racially motivated intentional attack. Live Oak takes these accusations seriously. The school interviewed all student eyewitnesses and teachers who were present, and each independently established that the accusation made by the attorney is absolutely false. The injuries were caused accidentally while the students were playing with the swing and attached pool rope. The attorney was advised of the results of the interviews. Well, joining us right now via FaceTime from Dallas is Paul Greenkey, one of the family attorneys. Also in our panel here, Paris Gennard, GOP communication strategist, Laura Victoria Burke, managing editor, Politic365.com, and David Swirling, assistant editor of the Washington Post. So I'm trying to understand here. The school says, everybody says it was an accident. It was just unfortunate. How, though, did the mother arrive at the point that it was racially motivated?
Well, let me first say that we have not, as a law firm making a demand, said that this was racially motivated. Sandy definitely thinks it was, as she looks back over the last several months. What I will say to you is that when you have a situation like this, anytime you have a situation like this, where an overwhelming majority picks on a minority and in such a terrible manner, we have to have the debate about whether or not it was racially motivated. And that's what we're seeking here.
So, from your perspective, what do you believe took place?
I believe she was bullied. I don't respectfully believe this was an accident. I cannot, in my mind, fathom how a rope could get around a little girl's neck and scar it almost all the way around, and that be some sort of a freak accident. You need to know that the school was well aware that this little girl had been bullied for months, and her mother was begging the school to do something about it. And her mother actually asked to join the group on this trip so she could keep an eye on her little girl, and she was ignored.
Now, I'm going to roll this back so that you can actually get a good look at the scarring around that little girl's neck. This is basically ridiculous. This did not happen based on, an accident. This occurred, and I'm going to roll this back for you so you can actually see. Those scars did not occur through an accident. It took significant pressure in order to destroy the upper layers of the skin of this little girl. This is ridiculous. Look at those. Look at that scarring. Look at that. The skin. That skin is broken. She is bleeding through those rope marks. That does not occur when somebody is basically has something around your neck and is lightly pulling, or even using medium strength. There was a conscious effort in order to create that type of damage around that little girl's neck. So for them to say accident, no, that wasn't no accident. That took a conscious effort to create the scarring that you see in these pictures.
So she could keep an eye on her little girl, and she was ignored.
Have you communicated with the school?
We have communicated, yes, with the school and the school's lawyers.
Now, the mother had requested to go on the trip with her daughter, and the school basically turned her down. That was the portion that you heard as I came off of the review of the pictures of that little girl's neck.
Go to our panel. We'll go to our panel right here. Obviously, this is the question the school said, all these eyewitnesses against the work of this young girl. Looking at those pictures, that's a little hard to think it was just for a quick moment, a rope just sort of ran across someone's neck.
Who cares about communicating with the school? Why didn't they call the police? Why didn't they contact the authorities for what is obviously an assault at the very least? She likely did not do that herself, but why didn't they call the police?
That is a great question, and it's a question we're asking. We have contacted the police, and there are multiple departments that are looking into this now, but the school took zero action. They didn't contact the police. They did not contact this little girl's mother, and when the little girl came home from the trip, they didn't even have the decency to come approach the girl's mother at that time and explain what they think happened. They just sent her home.
Yeah, Roland, that's one of the things that stood out to me in this case, is that you have conflicting eyewitness accounts, and obviously the school has its position, the family has their position, but if, as has been reported elsewhere, that the school didn't let the mother know, that is a problem in and of itself. It's a problem, as the young lady's attorney is saying, that that if the mother asked to go on the trip because of a bullying situation was turned down, I think that's a problem. And as you said at the top, right, and as Lauren said, right, you look at that scar around her neck, that doesn't prove that something happened, but that sure does not look, to me, my personal opinion, like an accidental thing. Something sort of seemed like it happened there, but it's not clear to me why the school hasn't been more forthcoming about some of the details.
It doesn't prove that it was a racially motivated incident, but it proved that something happened, something terrible. I don't know what kind of game you're playing,
right.
What kind of let's rope the girl around the neck and drag her. I mean, I don't know what game that is,
right.
But you have to take into consideration if the girl was bullied for months, like they're saying, and the only person that happened to have a rope put around their neck happened to be the black girls, then you have to ask the question, was this racially motivated? And if it wasn't, then clearly it was an act of someone being bullied and violence.
That the of all the people that got the rope around their neck just happens to be African American in the South, in a country that has a history of lynching. It probably is racially motivated, I would say. I mean, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that it probably is.
And also keep in mind, Waco is also the place where that infamous lynching photo of Jesse Washington more than 100 years ago that took place in Waco, Texas. Paul, final comment.
Well, I'll just say, I think whether or not it was racially motivated, I think it's the worst case of bullying I have ever seen. And I think we as a society have a duty to protect the weakest among us. And this girl has been picked on, and she's been bullied. And I think this is just an epic failure, however you look at it, on the school's part, to protect her.
All right, Ben. Paul Greenkey, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having me.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about Waco as far as the demographic is concerned. And remember, Roland just made mention of the fact that of that lynching that took place down in Waco. Waco basically is a town of about 124,000 people. The amount of well, okay, now let's clean this up a little bit. The population in Waco is 69% white, and it's 21% African American. It's about 2% Asian, and about 8% Hispanic. So it's basically a white town with a more than average black population, if you want to consider 21% more than average. How this girl is in a class with only 21 other kids, white kids, and I could be wrong, maybe the class is 30, maybe there were a bunch of other black kids, and they just didn't go on this trip, okay? But that being said, the mother requested to go on the trip, and since the school knew that this was going to be the only black person that was going to go on this trip, there is no way that that mother should have been denied the right to accompany her daughter on that trip. Even if she had to come out of pocket and pay, you know, for her own expenses, that should have been, they should have allowed that to happen. But the damning part about it is, after whatever went down, the school didn't notify the mother, and the kid comes home with those types of injuries. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Somebody was playing let's lynch the black girl, and everybody else either participated in it or went along with it. So this is just another example of black people being under attack. Now, I'm going to pause this for a second and jump to these next two stories, which are going to, in my opinion, just further demonstrate the fact that the rules aren't the same, and when rules are applied, they are applied unfairly. Now, this particular story has to do with a young lady who is highly intelligent, has numerous college scholarships, and in a talent show did a poem where she used the N-word and made some other particular statements, but it was in a poem, and I haven't heard the poem, so I can't attest to the wholesomeness of the poem itself, but apparently the poem was well received by her schoolmates when she performed on stage. But the principal decided that because of the use of the N-word, and it was one other item that they pointed out, that they weren't going to allow this student to attend her prom and graduation. That is incredible. Anyway, here's the story. And again, I'm just pointing these things out because in my mind, there's no fairness. There's no humanity. There's no empathy. There's no understanding when it comes to our black kids. Now, don't get me wrong. Hey, if there's somebody out there that's doing wrong, I want to throw the book at them just as much as anybody else, because right is right and wrong is wrong. But in cases where there is no obvious injury to anyone, and for punitive action to be taken against our young black boys and girls that had the potential to, and have demonstrated the potential to aspire to greatness, this is just wrong.
Folks, that was Taylor Ball, a high school senior at Homewood Flossmoor High School, located outside of Chicago. The 18-year-old gave that particular poem at a school talent show. She was banned from the prom and possibly graduation for saying the words tits and using the N-word during her spoken word performance at the school's talent show. She's an honor student. She's been accepted into 11 colleges and universities, got more than $1 million in scholarships, and has a full ride to Florida A&M University. She did, though, show up at her prom, took photos outside, but was turned away. She joins us right now on the phone. Taylor, how are you?
Hi, I'm okay.
So, Taylor, I'm trying to understand something here. So, you gave this poem, and the principal made the decision that because you used the N-word in your poem,
This way?
he wouldn't allow you to go to the prom? And then what's the decision about you walking at graduation?
We don't know the decision right now. It's still pending.
Were you stunned? First of all, because we heard the reaction, and for the audience, it was a little unclear there in the video. Tell them what your poem was about.
So the main idea of my poem is, I guess, just to empower black women, to combat stereotypes people have about black women and black people in general. I use the N-word in a positive connotation. I never had any type of a malicious intent. And so for the principal and for the sponsor to take it in such a negative way, it hurt my feelings, because I'm like, you guys didn't like the poem? After I said it, everybody was clapping and screaming. So I'm thinking, wow, okay, everybody loved it except them. So I was a little stunned. I was sad.
Were you supposed to run the poem by any authorities, any school officials before you gave it?
That's the only thing I regret. I should have did that, but I finished it that morning. You know, as a writer, you change things up until the second, and so I changed it that morning. I kept going over it, and however it flows, you keep changing it. And so I should have ran it by her, but I didn't have time, and I really didn't think about it.
When the principal said you couldn't go to your prom, I mean, surely that had to be stunning to you. Something that every high school student looks forward to. And so on that day, what exactly did you do on that day?
Before he told me, when he told me I couldn't go, I was sad, but my mom told me that I should still get dressed, take pictures. My dress was a lot of money, and I had a lemonade theme going on. It was yellow. I still wanted to wear it, and so I got dressed that morning. I had my send-off. Nobody in my family knew that I couldn't go to prom. I didn't want to tell anyone at that time, because I still wanted to appeal to him when I going to prom. I still went. I took pictures with all my friends, and I was excited because I still got to see my friends. They still got to see my dress. I still got to take pictures. And then after that, I just drove around downtown, and I waited for my friends to get out of prom. Then after that, we went to dinner, and then I went on my prom trip. I did everything the same except going to prom.
And when you showed up at the actual prom venue, and your friends came outside to photos with you?
Well, they were waiting for me, because once you're in, you can't come out. So they waited.
And you tried to go into the prom, but the principal, was he there and he said no?
Yes, he was at the door. I tried to talk to him about it. I just told him that, you know, I had bought my dress, I bought all of this stuff, and I really wanted to go, and he just said no.
When it comes to graduation, first of all, what's the graduation date?
Graduation is May 29th.
May 29th. You're going to be allowed to walk across the stage?
No, I don't know yet.
So you've got family members who might be trying to come into town who, frankly, they're
Oh, yeah.
all on hold because you're waiting to hear?
Oh yeah, I have 5 aunties and they're all flying in, so.
So, has the principal given you a date on when they're actually going to give you a decision?
Today.
So you know today?
I will know today at 2.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to check back with you tomorrow. Hopefully, the principal will realize it's not that big of a deal and allow you to walk across that stage for your graduation. But nevertheless, congratulations on all of your scholarships and going to. And you are going to attend FAMU?
Yes, I'm going to FAM.
Okay. All right. What are you going to major in?
Biology pre-med.
Okay. Well, look, we appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Folks, on a similar note, the valedictorian of a Louisiana high school was not allowed to walk in his graduation because facial hair. Andrew Jones, a straight A student, a gifted athlete, heading to college on a scholarship. But that's all regardless because he was not allowed to take the stage at his graduation last week. Why? Because he refused to shave his beard. A beard he's had for all 4 years in high school. The student of the year was one of 13 students who were told to shave prior to the graduation ceremony. Since the rule had never been enforced, Jones refused to completely remove his beard and settled on a goatee. Well, apparently that wasn't enough. So Jones' cap and gown were taken away. I'm gonna go to our panel here. Folks, our principals getting a little stupid here when it comes to can't go to prom, can't go to graduation.
There's a thing called the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. So I understand sometimes the spirit of the law says you
Letter of the law, this ain't a law. It's a rule.
Of the rule. I understand that, and I think that sometimes they're taking it to an extreme. Look, I went to a high school called Brophy College Prep in Phoenix, Arizona, and this year the valedictorian happened to be a black guy named Josh Benjamin. Josh has long dreads. Wasn't a problem at Brophy Prep.
Right.
And he happens to be going to Harvard, played on the football team, and so it was the same instance that all throughout the whole year they saw him on the field with dreads, and then he got up on the stage and said, "Oh, you can't do that." Brophy didn't do that, but that's what's going on in this country.
But was it written someplace? This is a private school.
My school was private, so it was fine.
He said nothing happened.
This young man's school was public.
He said nothing happened, but his point is, what if all of a sudden, after 4 years, they go, oh, we don't want to see your braids now.
I went to private school too, private high school, and you know there were rules, some very, very rigid rules, as a matter of fact, with regard to dress codes. Everybody was aware of those rules beforehand. This is not something that comes up right before your graduation. But at a public school, unless there's a contract or an agreement or something, I don't see how they can do this. This is a freedom of speech.
First of all, let me find out I'm the only public school on the panel today.
No, bro, all public
There you go.
schools.
Okay, public school. Look, what I see as the two similarities between the two kids, who both seem like really nice kids, is that they're both kids who are going to college, had good grades, where there was no report of a discipline problem.
Right.
So even if there was a reason to punish, which I think the punishment was excessive either way, as a principal, you've got to exercise some discretion and say, look, I've got to do something because we have a rule. I'll give you detention, I'll give you suspension. But to take kids who are succeeding out of the prom, out of graduation, it's ludicrous.
Let me say this here. Let me say this here. I'm gonna remove the succeeding part out of the question.
Okay.
Because to me that's irrelevant. No, it's irrelevant.
Well, but Roland, what?
No, follow me here, because here's why I'm saying, here's why I'm removing that. Because a lot of times, we'll say, because it's a successful student, it's different if they were not. Here's my whole point. If a kid had a beard for 4 years,
Right.
and nobody said a word,
I agree.
you don't all of a sudden say, because it's graduation, you gotta shave. If you said nothing, if it's clear, you said and done nothing for 4 years, you are dead wrong to say now on this day, you can't do it.
Roland, I agree with you 100% on the beard. In the case of the young lady,
Even if it was a decent,
no,
I don't care.
In the case of the young lady who gave a great interview, I can't remember her name, I apologize.
Taylor.
In the case of Taylor, If there's a school rule, for instance, against using the N-word, I think as a principal, you have to respond to that.
That's
But
fine.
again, if there is a difference in my mind between a kid who has been warned over and over again against breaking
Right.
school rules versus a kid who expresses herself
Well,
one
far
time.
as.
Right, yeah.
But even here, even when it comes to Taylor, okay, I still think, let's say you can't go to prom is excessive. But let's say the deal is you can't go to prom. But to say you can't go to prom and you can't walk, come on, man.
Well, the thing about it is that, you know, there shouldn't be any prohibition on your graduation day, it would seem to me, unless there was a prior agreement, which there doesn't seem to have been one here. They just decided that they're ticked off about what somebody said, which, by the way, is a freedom of speech issue. Somebody says something that you don't like and they can't go, then arbitrarily you can't go to graduation, makes no sense.
Well, if you call a president the N-word, then I mean, what is the big deal here? But the bigger issue is this, Roland. Principals should be encouraging, and we should be setting an example to do all that we can to show young people graduation is something that's important. We value this day for you and for your family. And to find these silly little things, your facial hair or your poem.
The N-word thing is the biggest horse that has gotten out of the barn. See, that's what's kind of strange about the N-word thing. You know, doggone well, if you've been hearing it in the music, you know, see Dolores Tucker, unless that's the principal of this school, I'm not understanding why this suddenly comes up as a big shocking surprise that a teenager has used the N-word.
No, but here's the deal.
You didn't deal with that
Here's the
before
deal.
that.
Here's the deal, though. If the rule was you had to have something approved,
Right.
which she admitted to,
Right.
I got no problem. That's fine. Because again, what you said earlier, if everybody knew in advance
Right.
what the rules were,
Right.
then you knew if you broke it,
Right, you
but
broke
you
it.
knew. I'm fine with that. I still think it's dumb and fine. Okay, if you want to say, fine, you can't go to prom. But to sit here and play the game, you can't go to prom, and you can't graduate. That to me is stupid. This principal is just being ridiculous, and somebody should check the principal. And matter of fact, I hit him with some picket signs. Sure. I mean, because and this to me, this is also where other students. If I'm that graduating class, I tell that principal, she don't walk, we don't walk. Right. And if I'm the commencement speaker, I will, see, don't invite me to be commencement speaker, because I would invite the girl to my speech and call in, have her sit down next to me when they bring me up to the podium. Yeah, I would go that gangster.
Yeah. I have a feeling that by 2 o'clock today, they might
Have a change
reconsider
of
this.
heart.
Yeah.
And let me say this here to the principal. If you don't make the right call by 2 p.m. today, everybody gonna know who the hell you are tomorrow. I advise y'all in Homewood Flossmoor to make the right call. I'm just saying, or you're gonna be the focus of a whole segment tomorrow on this show.
Because you got Uncle Roland.
I'm just saying.
All right, so I agree with Lauren Burke as far as the freedom of speech issue is concerned, but let me just give you some background on Taylor Ball as far as this actual situation itself. Students were required to audition for the talent show with any piece they wanted to perform, and they were expected to stick to that piece as shown during the audition process. Miss Ball says she told the teacher that her poem wasn't quite finished, but she was told to continue with the audition anyway. The line using the N-word, and I got a real problem with the use of the N-word anyway, so, but that being said, she added the line used the N-word after the audition, okay? Now, the Director of Human Resources and Public Relations for the school, Jody Bryant, indicated that the students knew the rules and the consequences should they choose to overstep. It was reiterated at the dress rehearsal that all performances must be performed without any additions or changes to content, presentation, or costume, according to Ms. Bryant. Okay. It is understood, according to Ms. Bryant, by students, a deviation during the actual performance may result in consequences. Okay, fine. In the hours preceding the event, Taylor Ball emailed Pitcock, arguing she wasn't allowed adequate time to appeal the decision as detailed in the school's disciplinary codes, noting in particular that she did not cause any violence, nor was it her intention to do so. School policy also states that students are entitled to know our punishments and the reason. Okay, the principal stood by his decision, but Ball didn't back down. She put on the dress, and you saw that portion of it. But it looks like the student did violate the rules of the audition. What is the whole big deal about that? But now on the other side, it looks like the school violated her due process requirements, and that they didn't seem to bat an eye as far as that's concerned. So she better be allowed to graduate with her class. I mean walk down the aisle just like everybody else. So you got a young lady who appears to be highly intelligent, has all of these scholarship offers. She's going to attend Florida A&M, which is a really good school. And this school is taking this type of action against her. No, something else is going on here, and they better do the right thing, because there's going to be a backlash here. Now, as far as the student that had the itty bitty tiny little goatee, that's just them attacking this kid. Because if this kid had that mustache and beard, and when I was a kid from about 15, 16, I had a full beard, and I graduated with my full beard, no problem. But I believe that the issue here is this kid is supposed to be the best kid in this school, and I guess a valedictorian, and they didn't want to advertise this young black man with a tiny goatee as their best student. So they were looking for a way to go after this kid. I'm willing to bet you that there were other kids that attended that graduation that had beards and goatees, especially the kids on their football teams. So that was just an attack on him because he showed more intelligence than they wanted to showcase. But again, just 2-3 more issues where our black youth are under attack. We need to go after these bastards and make sure that our children are protected, their rights are protected, and these quote-unquote peckerwoods, as my wife would say, know that we are not going to back down.